to United States there, and they had a power pack team. Serena played in that United States team along with Sophia Kenin, so you couldn't get two kind of bigger players at the moment for the States, and to say they only squeezed through, it's probably quite nervy for them. They were at home as well for that match. Netherlands lost to Belarus 3-2 at home. Romania lost as well 3-2 to Russia. Germany swept Brazil in Brazil as well 4-0. Spain beat Japan 3-1. Switzerland beat Canada 3-1. Belgium beat Kazakhstan 3-1, and Slovakia beat Great Britain 3-1 as well. So those teams will progress, and then they'll play another round further on, and the ones that lost go into qualifiers to stay in the World Group. So that was that, Damian. Obviously, we've got United States, Belarus, Russia, Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Belgium, and Slovakia going forward from that first round. Who out of those countries can you see kind of going the furthest? Is there a strong fancy in there for you?
It's a boring answer, but the United States, obviously. I mean, they have the most recent Grand Slam champion. If they have Serena, then they form a very good team. It's also going to depend on how Kenin reacts to winning that title at the Australian Open. Is she gonna, have a major dip in her form? But basing on how she played at the Fed Cup, it doesn't look like so. There's also a very dangerous wildcard nation that was invited, right? Czech Republic. It's probably in the past couple of years, it has probably been the most successful nation in the Fed Cup, and with the amount of talent that they always have, like Pliskova, Vondroušová, Muchova also as a third one. So they also had great doubles players. So I guess I would kind of see the Czech Republic and the United States as favorites there. It's actually, it's sorted into groups, right? So
yeah, so sorry, I was just about to go. I'll just talk about these group stages. So those 8 teams qualify for a group stage, which also includes, as you said, the Czech Republic, got Australia in there, France are in there as well, and Hungary, as well as the 8 teams that I mentioned and that have won those ties last week. So kind of who can qualify from those groups, and then there's a semi-final and a final stage. Like Czech Republic has done so well in this event for so long now that it's amazing, really, their record. But the number of players that they just get at the top of the game, it's like the quiz question that I posed to you for France on the men's side. You could probably pose.
Yeah, there could be, but
similar question. Every time I'm writing predictions on WTA, it seems to involve a Czech player, and the strength and depth is just incredible. Like, you're obviously from the Central European kind of area. I'm not sure if you know anything about the development of the kind of the Czech tennis. Is it a massive sport in that country? I'm not that familiar with Czech culture.
I'm not really sure, but I'm definitely a bit irritated by that, actually, because we are situated next to each other. They have 8 million people, and yet they have so many players in the ATP WTA top 100. Also, the ATP, I think they had Berdyk, and like Poland has 4 times more people, and yet we don't really have as many players maybe in the top 1,000.
Czech Republic won the Davis Cup twice as well, didn't they, in the 2010s?
Yeah, of course, 2012 and 13. Honestly, I believe it's mostly due to, I'm not sure what the situation is there, but I believe it's probably due to the federation actively doing something to promote the sport and to support the biggest up and coming prospects. I mean, I know it's an issue in Poland, so I guess the situation is probably better there.
Yeah, so Czech Republic could go far, States could go far. Australia got to the final last year with Barty, kind of flying the flag for them, and I think France are the defending champions, which is probably why they've got automatically into that group stage.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if France could retain it. I think it was a bit of a surprise that they won it last year, but did very well to do so. So let's move on to kind of the week that we're just at the end of now. We're still awaiting 1 or 2 results from this week, but we've had the winners of Rotterdam. We talked about Gael Monfils, but we had the winner at Buenos Aires as well, Casper Ruud, his triumph there, and he was up against Pedro Sousa, wasn't he, in the final, which is a massive run for him.
Yeah, quite a surprise, especially as he was the lucky loser in that event. I mean, Pedro Sousa, of course. Just got a couple of great wins, for example, over Thiago Monteiro in the quarters, and then received a walkover from Diego Schwartzman. But anyway, talking about Casper Ruud, I mean, I think it's a fantastic achievement for him, especially to make it to a new career high ranking of world number 34, beating his father's record. It's obviously a very big thing for Norway as well, because they don't really have a lot of tennis tradition there. The sport is not that popular. There, for example, there will be an ATP Challenger Tour event this year. I think after 20 years or something. For the first, after 20 years, there will be an event of the circuit in Norway, in Bergen. So hopefully that can help with the development of tennis there. I mean, Ruud basically obliterated everyone on the way to the title.
I know, right?
Besides Juan Ignacio Londero, of course.
Right, so I was watching that semi-final, and Londero was hitting winner after winner and kind of playing Ruud off the court, really, and then served for it at 5-4 in the second set and just completely capitulated. And Ruud won the next 3 games to take the set 7-5, and then went straight away a breakup in the third set, and then there was a heat break. Someone went down in the crowd, and Casper Ruud was running around the court, throwing water bottles into the stands and getting a massive round of applause from the Buenos Aires crowd. And then Londero was just looking at him from his chair, obviously giving him the evils, like, how have you got so much energy? But obviously he must have been running on adrenaline because he just won the last 5 games in a row. And Londero thought, I'm going to have to do something about this. So he just turned around and gave a water bottle to the ball boy that was behind him to do the same job. But he couldn't be bothered doing it himself. It was quite it wasn't amusing because there was someone down in the crowd and it could have been serious, which is why they stopped playing for a little while. But I just found that little bit of a play quite telling about what adrenaline can do for you and getting momentum can do for you, running around the stadium in 40-degree heat, throwing bottles of water into the crowd. But that's Casper Ruud. So he's, like you say, he's become the highest ranked Norwegian. And let's talk about the final that we don't have the result for yet, but Kyle Edmund, the Briton, has made it to an ATP final. He'll be playing against Andreas Seppi, which is quite probably an unexpected final from the start of New York. We had Milos Raonic in that draw, the defending champion Riley Opelka, and John Isner was in that draw, and it was expected to be kind of a big server's paradise. And certainly Seppi and Edmund have got decent serves, but by no means the biggest on tour. But all of those big seeds seem to go out very early. And we had Jason Jung in the semi-finals. Miomir Kecmanovic was Edmund's opponent in the semi-final. So quite a tournament of shocks, really.
Yeah, of course. There's an opportunity for me to say something good about the Challenger Tour that I won't miss. Andreas Seppi lost in Dallas last week in the second round. So his first match as a seed there to Yuri Rodionov, who went on to take on the title, and now he's in the final of an ATP 250. So
is that another Czech prospect that you're talking about there?
Wait, come again?
Is Yuri Rodionov, is he another young Czech prospect?
No, he's from Austria. But he's very young. Yeah, he's 20, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, Seppi, he lost in his first match in a challenger, and now he's in the final of an ATP 250. So clearly, the difference in levels is not that big. Anyway, both Seppi and Edmund are players whose potential is well known to all of us. They simply have been struggling for a bit. Definitely, I'm very delighted to see Edmund do well because he's still rather young. He has been struggling to find his ways in a bit. I mean, he is also a very much a rhythm player. Let's say he can go on very bad strings of losses, but when he's at his best, he definitely has the potential to win ATP titles. I'm not sure if the finals started already. No, it hasn't, right? It's in 30
No, 10
minutes.
o'clock, I think, in
Yeah, 30 minutes.
my time. And but yeah, Edmund has quite a high ceiling. Like he almost qualified for the ATP finals in 2018, and he's made it to Grand Slam semi-finals, which Andrea Seppi hasn't managed to do, from my knowledge. And so he's definitely the player with the highest ceiling. I watched the Seppi semi-final last night, and he kind of pulled Jason Young all over the court. He's got a decent enough all-court game, but that'll be an interesting final tonight. And if you listening to this podcast after the finals finish, then I'll pop the results on the blurb underneath the podcast so that people are aware of kind of what happened in that final. I've done the predictions for New York all week, and I've gone for an Edmund win, so it will obviously be Seppi who emerges victorious from that one. Actually, no, that's not fair. I've done okay on the New Yorks this week. You know what? My first 4 predictions on the website were the qualifying round on day 1 of New York. Okay, and I got the first 4 exactly right to the exact set score as well. That's not bad, is it?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever.
Someone actually followed me on Twitter and said, "Are you the guy that has done the New York predictions?" And I said,
I've
"Yes."
seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, that was funny. I didn't know why he asked you for that. I thought maybe he's gonna blame you for losing his money or something. But
yeah, right. That's what I thought as well. So
that was actually a compliment. Nice.
I didn't respond to him because I wanted to check the results against my predictions first before I even replied to the guy. And if you look down this, I mean, this is kind of completely off topic, but I think it's interesting. If you scroll down that guy's Twitter feed, it's all just insults to people for losing him money. So I don't think I'm going to keep him as a friend on Twitter, as a connection on Twitter for very long, because if he's still following my he actually asked me for what my opinion was of the next match that was on court, and it was Damian against it might have been Seppi actually. It was Seppi, yeah, somewhere against Seppi in the first round. And I said, I can't see Seppi winning this. I don't think his ground strokes are going to penetrate enough, right? So, and obviously Seppi's made it all the way to the final, so I hope he really didn't take that advice very well. Although Damian Zummer had 2 match points in that match, and he served for it as well. So, that's tennis for you. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about some women's tennis. We had St. Petersburg finished this morning, and Hua Hin finished earlier in the morning as well. Magda Linette winning that one against Leonie Kung from Switzerland. That was quite a straightforward victory for Magda Linette in the end. And then in St. Petersburg, Kiki Bertens won a WTA Tour title, and she beat the massively talented Elena Rybakina 6-1, 6-3, and I predicted that was going to go 3 sets. I thought it was going to be incredibly tight, but Bertens just came out and kind of dismantled Rybakina, really. If you want to pick up on that, like Rybakina, I think that was her 3rd or 4th final already this season. She's come from just outside the 200 just inside the top 200 this time last year. She's now going to be inside the top 20 for the first time. But Kiki Bertens is equally as impressive. Like, she's gone 9-2 now this season, and this is before we even head into clay court season, which everyone kind of thinks is her best surface. So, what do you think about those 2 players that contested that final? Actually, you probably want to speak about Magda Linette, will you not? I don't even know.
It's fine. I mean, okay, so where to start? Okay, so Magda Linette won her 2nd title. It was a pretty weak WTA international draw. I mean, these tournaments really differ in quality. Something that someone pointed out to me was that in her first title last year, so it was the Bronx Open, she beat 6 top 100 players on the way, and here in Hua Hin she didn't have to beat a single one. And it's the same points, probably a little less money, but I'm not even sure about that. I mean, Magda really likes the conditions in Asia. Definitely, she always plays these small Asian events, so I guess it was just a matter of time before she won one of these. She's also gonna make a career high ranking. I'm also very happy to see Leonie King do well. She was in Wimbledon Juniors final 2 years ago, and kinda hasn't really come out of the lower tiers of the game, but hopefully this run will allow her to.
Yeah, she came all the way through qualifying as well, so she won 6 or 7 matches to get all the way to the final, so well done her, really.
Yeah, and as to Bertens and Rybakina, I mean, I don't think this week really changes anything. I think of Bertens. I mean, she's had excellent results on hardcourts before. She's won Cincinnati 2 years ago, taking the
Yeah.
final